location here of the Prime Desert Woodlands' latest expansion of our trails. And today's a very exciting day. We got a beautiful morning. We've had a lot of people hiking and walking out here, so they're already taking advantage of it, which is wonderful. That's what we want to see. And today is very special for that reason. There's a number of people involved, but before we get into our presentation, I want to make a couple of quick introductions. First, I'd like to introduce our Vice Mayor, Ron Smith, Councilwoman Sherry Marcus, and our City Manager, Mark Bozigian. You know, there's a number of things that have happened over a long period of time here at the Prime Desert Woodland. And it's been a dedication of a number of people. Our former director, I wouldn't want to go without mentioning his name, Lyle Norton, who spent a considerable amount of time making sure this project got going. And I know before he finally retired, he was always afraid we'd never get this thing underway. And then in the last 5-6 years, it really started to take place, and improvements came, and the building was built, and the pavilion was put in place. And so now we've still got one more addition that we're going to do, and we'll talk about that a little later, but today we celebrate the trails. So here we have now nearly 3 miles of trails that are available to people. And if you come out here in the morning or in the evenings, you see a lot of people in the community, people that drive here, but people that walk from the neighborhoods to come and enjoy this. And it's absolutely a great environment. Of all the parks we have and the facilities that the city treasures, this is such a unique place and such a wonderful place that when you don't quite hear the children out there in the morning and it's a little before school, it's so peaceful and quiet, and you get a chance to commune with nature in a place that you typically don't in the inner part of a city. So we're very proud of this. One of the things that this has done is raised a little bit of awareness of our environment, and that's also an important issue at this time in our country and in our state and in our community. And here we get a chance to commune with the desert, where most of us who have lived here for many, many years don't always get a chance to walk through the desert and see the animals. We've had rabbits running around behind us, and squirrels, and the birds that are flying around in the various places where they have nests out here. We even have coyotes that still live in the preserve. So it's a neat, unique, and very neat place that people can do something that they typically wouldn't on a city street. At this time, I'd like to invite our Vice Mayor, Ron Smith, up to say a few words. And Ron has been very integral and helping with the education process here for the community and talking about wildlife and birds specifically. And Ron, at this time, I'd like to have you come up.
Thanks. Thank you. You know, a little history of how we actually got here also, that some people don't realize, you know, as time goes by, is as the city was looking at this unique habitat that we have here, the Joshua Tree Desert Habitat, and all cities expand and there's Joshua trees that we lose or habitat that we lose, you realize that you just can't dig up this Joshua tree here and put it at the entryway of some complex or some shopping center and think that you've actually preserved the habitat. It actually takes at least 80 acres to preserve the habitat so you can actually function. You know, so all the endemic species and plants and everything can all integrate and have a habitat. So what the city did was they started identifying places that we call prime desert habitat, and what you see today is about 102.4 acres of contiguous habitat. And that's, so we have actually coyotes that actually have pups here. We have birds, scrub jay, cactus wrens, other local species that actually nest here locally that are residents all year round. We have a lot of endemic plants that you know, you don't find in other places. And one of them, you know, I was telling staff, is this little twiggy thing here that you see it flowers in the springtime, and that's called ephedra. That's where we get our you know, your nasal sprays and your ephedrine and everything. It used to be called Mormon tea. You used to be able to steep it in a tea. But that's how we got here today, and we have another another mile of hiking. And this really truly is just a jewel of the Antelope Valley, this contiguous. We have a lot of, I see we have some of the volunteers that help out here. And if any of you haven't gone on some of our bird walks, you know, we do a bird walk about every quarter, and this is the spring one coming up. And so we'll be able to see a lot of the migrating birds. And this is just really just a fantastic place, and I'm just very excited about it. And anybody who hasn't been here before, you need to come and check it out. Thanks again.
Prior to doing our ribbon cutting, just a couple of comments. As I mentioned earlier, we're not done with our improvements here at this site. We have a pavilion over here near the entrance to the Prime Desert Woodland. That is the final phase of what we're looking at for improvements. And our goal will be that we will go out to bid, or we've awarded the bid actually here fairly soon, to do improvements there where we'll add sound systems and lighting and landscaping around that. So it'll be a place where people can gather and hear lectures. School groups, when they come to visit, will have a place where they can eat their lunch or listen to presentations on what's available and what they can see out here. And that'll be the next big thing that we do. We're really looking forward to that. And then we'll have this 3 miles of trails, a beautiful pavilion that most of you probably know is made out of straw bales that have been plastered over. Very unique structure. Before I conclude my remarks and we do the ribbon cutting, I just want to thank a few people that are very integral in doing the project for both the walkways and pathways as well as the pavilion. Mike Campbell, our maintenance superintendent, who's played a major role in that, has helped in the design and worked with contractors. Patty Garibay, who supervises this facility. Rhonda Perez, our admin analyst, who actually does a lot of work with our tracking of budget to make sure we've got the money and where the money goes to pay for these projects. And so there's a number of other staff that have really done this, and City Council, of course, which has approved our projects and realizes how important this is to our community to have an environment like this that's so unique. So at this time, I'd like you to invite you to join us here as we do the ribbon cutting, and then following that, those of you who would like to participate in a walk through the trail will be led by some of our volunteers, and we'll start that immediately. Is Ray going to count to 3, or what are we going to do?
1, 2, 3. All right.